Greetings and welcome to Mount Olympus. I am Hercules Invictus, and today on Hercules and the Space Gods, I'm proud to bring you Disclosure Network New York with the one, the only, the legendary, the mythical Nick Curto.
Hey, good to be here. Hercules, always a pleasure to be with you. We've got a dynamite program tonight on one of my very favorite subjects, which is CE5, which means
Awesome.
seeking ET contact. It's one of my very favorite subjects. I've got some real ex life experience on that, and my group has also got some experiences of doing that. And we have a dear friend of mine, Linda Ipanema, who is not only a dear friend and a member of Disclosure Network New York, she's talked in the past and she's got an awful lot of information that we can share. So, Linda, welcome to my program.
Thank you so much.
And
No,
just
it's
to
always
let
a
you know
pleasure.
that Disclosure Network is now celebrating, it will be 28 years at the end of this year. 28 years that we've been
Wow.
going strong with two uh, events or two programs per month. All that time. We've had incredible lecturers coming to our meetings as well as doing it by Zoom. We have researchers not only in America and especially in the tri-state area, but we've got a wonderful woman in Europe, and we've got an amazing man in Hawaii, also excellent, dedicated researchers that go into the subject deeply. So I'm very proud of everybody who's a member of our group. And again, CE5 is trying to communicate with beings that are not from this planet. And I have to mention right now that I was a volunteer on the committee when Dr. Stephen Greer was going to make his very first lecture in New York City, the very first time he did that, which was about 28 years ago. And I found out about it. And since I have a communications background, I volunteered to be on that committee. It was wonderful people on the committee. We worked hard. We filled a big auditorium, including the balcony on Fifth Avenue and about 105th Street. And it was an exciting time. Stephen Greer has never been better. He's a good speaker, electric on stage, and he covered a lot of important subjects dealing with UFO and ET technology. When it was over, he thanked us all for doing such a good job. And as everybody, the volunteer committee was saying goodbye, a couple of women, especially one, named Mary Jo Fahey said, Nick, it was so good to work with you. And I said, Mary Jo, why are we saying goodbye right now? We did this program. We should have a program monthly in New York City. We don't have anything like that, believe it or not. And she said, let's go for coffee, which we did. And we formed Disclosure Network New York. That's how it started. And what a great idea that was. We've got so many connections, so many amazing people have lectured and are going to be lecturing this coming year. Anyhow, that's the background story. And so ET contact has got to be one of the most important subjects we could possibly talk about because here we are on the brink of some, I would say, good and bad news on this planet for sure. And making a contact with a different civilization, I think, is key to peace. That's my personal opinion. But Linda, I want you to start off and tell me a little bit about your experience about. Uh, I know you've done different techniques about trying to communicate with beings, ETs, whatever you want to term it. Please give us a little bit of your experience.
Goes back to when I was 4 years old, actually. I used to have strange color dreams, everything in red. I used to jump up and down the bed. I used to hear like spinning. And I believe that it started then. I believe that I was put here to have some sort of contact with this race and where I came from. And as I continued on in life, in my childhood, my early teens, late teens, I was a young woman. I had a lot of difficulty because I had all this interaction from entities, which were the alien life entities coming in. And I didn't understand it, and it was very difficult for me to cope with it. But I said, I know I'm like this for a reason. Something has got to break. Well, actually, now I'm going to move way ahead because about 15 years ago, it did break. Somehow it all merged. I was suffering terribly for 4 months. I thought I wasn't going to make it really on this planet. And I started to have such horrible, horrible feelings in my body, and I wasn't able to eat. Only bread and butter I could eat. And my cousin, who is an intuitive, he said, you know, I think you're going through ascension symptoms and you're having a contact with another planet that's coming in. And I said, really? As soon as he said that, a light bulb opened up in my mind, and these entities, they started to come to me, and I started then to understand their language. I started then to be guided to do certain type of work with people and to be exposed to certain issues. They kind of like, once I was open to it and accepted it, it all then started to flow for me with connection. And they told me how and what to do, how to meditate, how to contact us, how to stay open. I mean, I just was led by them. So it's still that same way now. Now it's channeling, and it's channeling with people with their health. And all in all, I mean, there's a lot of different issues I could talk about. We don't have that much time, but we have part one and part two and part three at certain times. For some reason, I started to go into people's bodies and see their organs and see the imperfection in certain organs by colors. And I started to recognize a color to that organ. In other words, an example, if an organ is red, that organ is quite inflamed on the brink of something. If an organ is black, it means they have cancer. If an organ is yellow, it means they have somewhat of arthritis. If an organ is pink and white, it means the organ is quite healthy. And if the body within itself is orange, it means that, I'm just giving you examples now. I have a lot of things I could say, but the orange means that, and the person is always getting stomach aches and whatnot, and they keep taking more vitamins and different combinations of vitamins. They are overloading their system with vitamin poisoning. They are taking vitamins that their body does not need, and therefore I see a lot of orange. So when I get clients that I go in their body, I see the orange right away. We go over their vitamins, and I tell them the next session what to take and what to put on the shelf and shut the door. And as soon as they do that, within 3 to 5 days, they start feeling better because they're overloading themselves with vitamins they see online, or they think that could make their bones be better, or if they think they're more alert with these vitamins, whatever it is that they're seeking, it's not so.
Right, right, right. That's excellent observation. I'd like to focus on a CE5 two events. I was present for both of them. In one case, I was with about 12 people. In the other case, I was just with one other person. And Pine Bush, New York is known for a great deal of sightings, ET and UFO sightings. And that's been going on even the Indians were talking about things in the sky they couldn't put their finger on. They didn't know what it was. Anyhow, I was in Pine Bush, New York. I had emailed ahead of time because I knew that that was a hotbed, and there was a group of people that meet in their city hall once a month, and this is the cross section of that little town, all ages, all different occupations, and if they had something they wanted to share with the community, that's where they would go. And the wonderful woman, I cannot think of her name, but she said, Nick, you certainly can bring your group up here. You'd be more than welcome, and you can sit in on one of our town meetings. So we had about 3 cars. We drove from Manhattan there, and we sat and listened to some of the town people. And there were teenagers, there were grandmothers. I remember there were policemen there. It was a cross section of that little town. And when the woman said that anybody have any sightings they'd like to share or experiences, all the hands went up. And right, and one grandmother said, "Well, it happened again last week. I was doing my dishes, and I have a big window facing the backyard and the mountains,
Mm.
and an ET vehicle." She said it was aluminum looking and it hovered over the trees. She said, "This has happened many times before." And she said, "It just hovered there. There was no wind, there was no sound, but I couldn't help but it was certainly right there." She said, "I wasn't afraid of it because I've seen what happens before. They stayed for a little while and then boom, they were gone, not to be seen." A policeman said, "Me and my partner were driving on a highway near the town at night, and we thought we saw a plane in trouble in the sky by the way it looked and acted. But as it flew over the highway, it wasn't a plane, it was something else. It was a UFO, and it went fairly quickly over our heads on the highway." This is the kind of thing they were talking about. So my point is that after it was over, I thanked them for inviting the group, Disclosure Network New York. And she said, "Nick, before you drive back to Manhattan, a lot of us go up to a little hill not too far from here. It's a beautiful night. The sky is clear, and just meditate for a little bit. Would you like to join us?" I asked my group, and they said, "Absolutely." So we went up there, and I was sitting on the hood of a car with the woman who had invited us, the head of that group. And we were just talking, and it was a very beautiful, clear sky. The stars were like diamonds. And on a very distant hill, very, very dark, very far away, I saw what I thought was a transmitter, a tower, because it had an orange light that was on, and I saw it, and there were no other lights around on that distant hill. And so I turned to the woman who was with me, and I said, "Is that a transmission for a radio or television station? The tower that I believe a tower, it's the orange light." Well, she looked. She said, "Nick, there's nothing over there at all. That is dense woods. There's no construction. But but I do see the orange light very clearly. It's there." And after she said that, within seconds, that orange light for the first time started moving, because until that time it was steady. I thought it was an antenna, and it started moving, and guess where it went? Towards us. It took about a minute. It was very, very slow, but it went right over our heads where we were sitting on the car on the hill. Not a sound, no wind. But to me, it was an acknowledgement
Yes.
that they knew that we were there and we were looking at that. And it was a peaceful way of acknowledging that. Anyhow, Linda, were you there that night? I don't remember.
No.
Oh, I wish you had been, because it was really quite an event. Again, I don't believe that the other people in the group mentioned that they had seen it, but it was very clear to me and the woman. It went right over. It was orange. It kept the same color and intensity, and went right over our heads. So
Yeah.
that's one
Well, what
example.
you said was very interesting just now. You
Hmm.
don't believe that everybody saw it. Well, there are certain people that have certain vision.
Okay.
What you see is not what the person right next to you will see, even though you're looking in the same direction. Your openness of your third eye and what it is you're seeking is what you're seeing. These people are there just out of sometimes curiosity, or they heard and they want to see and they're starting to become into it. Where you are developed, your sight is different than others. for instance, I see things people don't see because my developed sight. So therefore, you have a developed sight when it comes to, you know, alien life or connection to them. That's why you do what you do, because
I
they
think you're
are making you do what you do to stay open and wide for us to come to you and for small community or larger community that we have become.
I think you're right on the money on that, Linda. And the other part of that is my intuition has really developed a lot, a lot. I always had it, but it seems it's never been more than right now. And I could be on the street walking in New York City with a lot of people, and I get sometimes someone is coming towards me and I'm getting, this is a wonderful person. This is a person that you would like to know. There's something about them that is beautiful, truthful, gentle. And by the same token, I have had people walking near me and I get a vibration, look out, stay away. Now, it's not something that they're transmitting by what they're wearing, but there's just a vibe that comes out. This is bad news. Stay away from them because they are going to be in some very bad trouble here. And so, do you ever get that? Have you ever felt that on a?
I have walk into some homes and things like that where I couldn't stay there but more than 5 minutes. I had to walk right out because I was getting sick, like almost throwing up.
Well, see, there you go.
Because
That's a
of the energy. It was either energy that was stale, that was there a long time from others, or it was the people themselves that were giving me the energy. I didn't stay long enough to dissect it. All I know is it was very bad energy right away because I'm an empath and I'm a very high empath that I mean, I could feel things in Europe that come from Europe, you know, what goes on there, and I get sick
Mhm.
from the world, deathly ill. So I know that what you're talking about as far as picking it up. Your intuitiveness will even get better. For some reason, it's not an age thing, it's just how long that we're developing and living on Earth. Age has nothing to do with this. I mean, people say, oh, as you get older, you get this. It's not so. My young son, who's 28 years old, is an intuitive. Whenever I get stuck a little bit, and I do, I talk to him and he breaks it all down for me. He's very high. Well, I'm his mother. I mean, you know, I don't know if it's hereditary. He is an intuitive. You know, I believe that children and mothers and fathers, they come together for a reason, you know, either to learn something or to go through something, or they're all intuitives or psychics or something. My son is an intuitive. He feels things, he knows things, he says things to me. He has brilliant, brilliant answers that only, and that's another thing I wanted to get into, recognizing aliens and the human that's walking around today, whenever you want to now.
Right, right. One thing I wanted to run by you too is there's some very mixed feelings here about contact in general. And what I'm referring to is there are people who say, do not try to contact entities, ETs, don't go anywhere near that because you don't know if they're friendly on a really deep level or not. And some people are very upset and afraid of reaching out because they say, you don't know what's behind it. Do you have any feelings like that? Or as far as that subject goes, or any intuitions about are there both good and bad and everything, including ET, other civilizations, and that sort of
There's
thing?
always good and bad in what the existence of, you know, our life and alien life. There's always some devious kind of energies, you know, that love to see people suffer or bleed to death or get killed and things like that. And, you know, on Earth here too. I mean, they're killing us, each other and all. I like to see that. They get satisfaction, great satisfaction out of that. Although I must say that the people who spoke like that are more on a three-dimensional level that have not risen to at least 4 dimensions, whereas most of us now are on the fifth dimension. I would say a good 85% of us. The people who are in my family, some, my husband's family, for instance, they're still on three dimension. I can't be around them. It's not that I get those horrible feelings like we discussed, but I could only be around them a short period of time, or I need to really put a block when I see them, or, they invite me to wherever, because they are nowhere near what we're talking. They wouldn't believe it. They don't get it. They're not open to it. They're just like muddled up in that third dimensional type of life. But the people like us who want to kind of expand because our intuitiveness is pushing us to that naturally. Never be afraid, because our deep peace that we were born with and our guardian angel was there will always protect us. So if you get an inclination that you should do something and it comes from that type of heart source, that heart chakra source, go with it, because it is a genuine feeling of going forth and reaching out, and you're doing the right thing.
Well, thank you for that, Linda. And I just wanted to mention that 2 years ago, I had a incredible dream. I do have dreams, okay, everybody does, but this dream was very important to my life, as it turns out. My dream, luckily, after the dream happened, I woke up and I wrote it down because, as you know, if you do not write it down, it is gone, wham, gone, and you can't retrieve it. But I did write it down, and what it was on my dream. It was in color. I remember that, and I was alone, and I was walking in Soho, going past the different art galleries. And I love to do that. And there's some beautiful work there. And I passed by a big art gallery. It was a dark building with a couple of steps up, like they usually do. And the big door was wide open, but it was dark inside. You couldn't see any light, and there was no sign about whose work it was or what the work was. There was nothing visual to show you what was inside. And I walked by that building, and I walked about a block, and I stopped, and it bothered me. It bothered me a lot in the dream that I didn't know what was in that art gallery. And I thought, you know what? I gotta solve this. I turned around in my dream, and I walked about a block back, and I went up the steps, and I walked in the art gallery. And what I saw was absolutely amazing. It was modern art, it was highly political, and it was incredibly funny. And what it was some of the most, shall we say, evil people on our planet Earth right now. And there were big black and white line drawings of them, huge. It was square canvases. They were probably about 36 by 36 canvases, many of them. There must have been about 30 of them. And these people, the most prominent people you can imagine, that really are not, shall we say, looking out for the common man, pretty much looking out for only themselves. But they all looked evil, truly evil. You couldn't help but see that they all had evil faces. But around them, surrounding them, was bright color. And it looked like a combination of these black and white evil faces that we all know, but around them was this beautiful planet, this beautiful energy that was surrounding it. It was kind of like a contrast between what they were and what the rest of the world could be or is. And I looked around for the names of the name of the person who did the art. There was no sign, and individual art canvases. There was nothing. There was no writing at all. And then I woke up, and I thought, what was that? Oh my God! So I wrote it down, like I told you, and then later on, I started reading it. I thought, what is going on? It was so vivid. The bottom line is, I
When it's
couldn't.
vivid, it's a true contact. When it's vivid, when it's colorful, and when it's outstandingly like sharp, it's a true contact. It's not just a dream. You contacted whatever it was you contacted, and it was that true connection, and that's why it stuck with you so.
I think you're right on that. And the other part of that was it really was the individual art pieces was a comment on our culture, on our society worldwide. What is who is pulling the strings and who they are. And it was an alert. And I thought about
Did
this
you
a
have
few
it
months.
again? Did you have that dream again? Sometimes
No,
you have it a repeat.
no, it was only once. But you know what? I came to a conclusion after a few months. Nick, you were being tapped on the shoulder because the artwork you saw is your style. It was my style. It was my artwork. It was my show. And I had the aha moment. The aha moment. Oh my God. Yes. And I thought, you know what? I've got to make that real. I've got to work to make that art show real. And right now, I have 30 images already. The 30 images of the people that I had seen in my dream. And I'm starting to look for the right art gallery to put up the show. That's where I am with this. But again, it was intuitive and it was like tapping, like you're saying, tapping you on the shoulder and saying, listen, this is for you. And it was really quite something. I got one other quick thing I want to answer, and then I want some more, I got a couple of questions for you. The other thing I want to talk about was when we went as the group, Disclosure Network New York, and we went to Central Park for a CE5 to seek communication with ETs. We did that, I believe it was on the weekend, and we got there around 7 o'clock at night. It got dark. The sky was very clear. And we took Dr. Stephen Greer's tape on meditation, seeking CE5 contact, and we played it so everybody in the group could hear it. And I chose the big granite obelisk, the Cleopatra's Needle, as it's called, which is right behind the
Yeah, I know.
Metropolitan Museum of Art, because I thought that seems to be the perfect place to do this kind of event. So we did that. We all sat around and listened. It was very dark in Central Park, about 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And we heard Stephen Greer's meditation talking about breathing, about sending good vibes, about trying to be all at one, reaching out to brothers and sisters. That's what it was about. And after it was over, one person had to go because they had a small child with them, and it was 9 o'clock now. But the rest of the people stayed. And about a minute, when we were just kind of talking, all of a sudden, one of our quieter members of the group screams on the clear blue sky, "Oh my God, turn around, everybody, look up, turn around." And we did, and we see three white lights on the horizon, three white lights. And it was like, what is that? Is that a plane? And as it's very slowly moved, when it went past a star cluster, it blocked it, which means it wasn't three individual lights. It was a vehicle, a triangle with a light on each corner for sure, because it was blocking the little star clusters as it went past them. And it was heading towards us. It was heading towards Central Park, the middle of Manhattan Island. And nobody could talk. We were mesmerized. What was that? And as it got closer and closer, you could have heard a pin drop. And then it got to the point of it was directly over our heads, literally over. It was looking straight up. And Linda, it stopped. It absolutely stopped. For about 20 seconds, it was just there over us. And then it continued on. And my interpretation of that was it was telling us, you've communicated, we want to acknowledge it. And it was not a frightening thing. I thought it was a friendly gesture. That's how I felt.
It
And
was.
and it right, and it went all the way and continued the path until we couldn't see it anymore. And
How
there
many
weren't,
people were with you that night?
I would about 12, maybe 12 people
Well,
were
that's enough.
with a group. And you know, some of those people had bought cameras with them and recording equipment. nobody took anything because it was such an awe-inspiring thing. We were just concentrating on the moment. So no one snapped a picture. We were just frozen in this, what is going on? Did we
What was
succeed?
going on was the group was so intent on making that contact. Everybody had the same thought, the same feeling, the same energy. The 12 of you or so, how many were there? That's a good lot of people to bring up that energy and send it out. Always in groups. When you pray for somebody, if there's like a prayer group, it's the word group. If you 12 people pray, 20 people pray, that person will be healed. They're all designating that energy to that person. So therefore, it was the same with all of you. Because everybody who comes to your meetings, some of them are curious, but most of them have been holding in for years and years and years
That's true.
all what they have been going through and could not speak to anybody about it because the three-dimensional people, as I brought up, will think you're insane. So, thank God you have a group like this. And we used to come to your meetings, and we still do Zoom or park or restaurant, however you do it now. You're still hanging in there. Without this kind of thing, this salvation, people are lost. They actually get sick inside. They don't know where to go, what to do with this beautiful, beautiful view of the energy that they have and was created. So therefore, this all what you saw was a real contact. The people thought the same, felt the same, wanted it badly. You merged in that energy. You reached out. You did. Greer has that connection with them. You know how he talks. I was listening to him a little bit today, and I can tell you, he's over the top. I mean, he's it. The way he verbalizes what it is that he has to say is so intense. You have to really follow every little syllable as he's describing. And a person like myself can hang in there and see this, where others, they might sit and they want it so badly. So as they continue to go, gradually they'll get more and more of him. But just the first 10, 15 minutes as I was watching this, he was verbalizing things and saying these type of words and putting them together. Only a person like myself, or maybe you, or maybe Mark, I don't know about Phyllis, but can really, really get it. And I really
Mhm.
got him, and he really has been a contactee for years. He knows his stuff. He knows how to break it down. He knows how to give it to people. And he doesn't just throw it at them where they get confused. He edges himself into the material and he feels everybody in the audience too. So, he's,
I would say yes to everything you said. And
yeah.
I would add, if I had to handpick one person to be the representative, if we had a major ET contact experience, I can't think of a finer man to be the representative of our planet than Dr. Stephen Greer. He asks the right questions. He has a capacity for understanding what's going on. I think that he's the perfect choice, and I really hope that when contact comes, and I really think it's near, major contact, and as we know, the government is really aggressively now pursuing unlocking the files of ET and UFO contact as far as what's been going on worldwide. And the administration is saying we are going to open the files completely for transparency. Now, we've never had, ever, as you know, transparency on this subject. In fact, we've had a lot of, I hate to say it, big lies about what was really happening. We heard nothing about it for years and years, probably from the 30s on, at least, that I know of. So this government now is saying we are aggressively going to open the files and get this on the table. This is a very exciting time for everybody on this planet.
Stephen Greer, his existence is on many different planes at one time. I noticed, and he said it himself, but I noticed that. And he is a contactee with them 24/7. His channeling, they are channeling him 24/7, unless he says, I want to take a rest or he does something else. But 24/7, he is open for all the info because nobody talks the way he speaks unless you have that superior information from alien life. Alien life is a strong, strong life. Earth is really the lowest, I have to say it, forgive me for saying it, lower totem pole of planets. You know, we are being taught from them, but a lot of us were on different planets before we came here. And that is another subject within itself. People who come here that they maybe come here the first and second time to try Earth. That's their chart. They came here for a reason, whether it was to suffer and teach somebody, like Hercules. He's got this disease now, but it's not really that he has it. It's really that he has to have a body of people that he has to show people things. You know, he's a vessel. Let's put it that way. But I'm
Hmm.
just saying that people are having complications health wise, and I see it all the time, and I work with people. They call this COPD. COPD is when you have difficulty breathing. It's like an asthma condition, they call it here on Earth. The reason why these people come here and they have that is because where they came from on the planet, the oxygen level was different. They were used to breathing freely with that kind of oxygen level. They come here and everything is kind of, poisonous. The air today, is not that great. And therefore it's choking them. And they're feeling, same thing with the food. Their food consistency there was different than what they're eating here. So when they come here and they're hungry, they have the same hunger as they had there. They're eating foods that are against their body. And that's why they are developing all these kinds of things in their body because they do not know what to eat to satisfy their hunger. And because we have different levels of food here than they have there.
Well, you're also making another point here, and I wanted to add to that.
Yeah,
I've been a long time reader of the Urantia book, Urantia book, which
right.
is an uh, advanced science, advanced thinking. It is a total revelation, literally a revelation. And part of that book is talking about our brothers and sisters on other realms, on other planets, and other dimensions. And one thing it says, and you just hit it, it said it's describing certain communities, and they say they are non-breathers. And the first time I read that, I went, what, really? They said, no, this particular planet, they are non-breathers. They're not set up to breathe like we are at all. How interesting is that? And you hit it right there. And others like us are. And some of them, our oxygen and our air is fine. In other cases, like you were saying, it could kill them. They have to have other mechanisms just to get around. One of the things I wanted to run past you, and I'm not the only one who thinks this, and my instinctive capabilities are saying we have been watched. We are now being watched, and we have been watched for thousands and thousands of years. And we're still being watched and monitored. And I feel that very strongly. Do you feel anything like that?
I have been feeling for 40 years or more presence around me constantly, being watched, having different energies around me. Uh, in my home, I have, they're walking around, I see them, the corner of my eye. They pop in and they pop out. They don't interfere with me, but they're there. And the funny thing is, when I moved here in this patch of land on Brighton Beach. It's a development, a gated community. As soon as I entered the new apartment that I purchased, I saw cowboys and Indians. So this patch of land that I'm on had to do with a lot of cowboy and Indian life underneath me, around me, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, and I did
Wow,
see
that's
that, and
amazing.
I didn't tell anybody that unless they really believed me, because I don't like to talk about this stuff unless people are into it, because it
Hmm.
doesn't make any sense to them. But do I feel presence? Of course I feel presence. I feel presence from other people. I feel presence all over. I pick up things all the time. That's why I constantly meditate and I constantly put the white light around me and I shield myself because I try to shield everything away unless it's necessary for them to come to me and I utilize it. But I feel that all the time.
Yeah, and also Tesla, when he was exploring, and of course he was cutting edge as it gets, way, way ahead of his time, and he was getting a signal that could not be explained. And eventually, I believe through telescopes, they found this object that was in a state of circling our planet. And it was going from, it was a kind of a north to south ro situation, which means that as our planet turns, it literally could pretty much scan any part of our planet. And this still is there. And the science has not really, at least publicly, talked about it very much at all. But it's still there, and it's an object, and it's capable of monitoring. And it was emitting a signal that Tesla, way back when, picked up. So how wild is that? And
Yeah.
again, it would be, I think it's one, not the only one, but a monitoring device that is really, I think, checking on us. And let's face it, we're kind of the new kids on the block. We're still experimenting with nuclear energy and threatening planets, threatening our different countries with nuclear bombs, unless blah blah blah. And that's going on in the headlines right now. Does that frighten me? You bet it does. And I think that they are looking at us, hoping that we make the right decision. I feel very strongly that that's
Well, that's
happening.
why they come to us so they can help us make that right decision. And people that are open, very good psychics, mediums, people that are, centered, focused, grounded, they come to us to try to help mankind on Earth. Don't forget this Earth is a very fumbling kind of existence. There's only handfuls here, handfuls there. When I say handfuls, I just don't mean like five people. I mean like hundreds here, hundreds there, in different states of us, the type of talking that we're talking now, insightful talking to help the planet. There's not enough of us, but nevertheless, we are here to try to help. And the ones that we envision, like you envision with the 12 people, they are helping us as well. But a lot of this is not open to the earthly people that they don't get it. They don't want the help. They just rather kill each other.
There's people in our group, and you know them, and I believe you're one of them, that feels as though we are here on this planet at this time for a very good reason. That we
Mhm.
are we are we are here almost an assignment, if you want, if you will, that we are here
An
to.
assignment, that's a good word.
And I do feel that. And I've talked to some people in our group that also deeply felt that too. We're at the right time, at the right place, with the right people.
Hmm.
And that is very exciting stuff. The other thing I want to get to, and I want to ask what you would ask if when you have dialogue with ETs of a different solar system, of a different culture, what kind of questions I have 1,000 questions I would like
I
to ask
know.
them. Do they have a religion or not? What do they eat? How do families come to be?
They're
How
all different
old?
on different planets now about the eating thing. Some
Right,
of
right.
them just, yeah, I mean, there is a couple of the planets they do eat. I mean, they eat mostly like a vegetarian, mild type of diet. A lot of a lot of greenery. It's a lot of greenery and soothing kind of food, a kind of drinks, mild type of things that keep them going and flowing.
Hmm.
Nothing like what we eat here, like, Popeyes and pizza and all that stuff.
Also,
It's not,
do they have
there's no
marriages?
religion.
Do they have marriages there or not?
They
Um,
have
how,
connection.
how many children would be, if there are families, how does that work? What is their educational system? I'd be
They have
very,
love connections, love connection.
I would
And
very
that
much
is,
like to ask
that's the
them about,
marriage right there, the love connection.
right, I would like to ask them about music. I'm very interested in music, and I think that is not only the international language, that is the universal language. And I would love to listen to what would be termed music of their planet and their civilization. I think that would be phenomenal to listen to what kind of music do they
Well,
have?
to answer your question about music, people are born here and all of a sudden they grow and they take on an instrument or they are singing and acting. Those people who are coming from where they're coming from, yes, they were exposed on some level to a high stake of entertainment on their planet. So when they come here, genetically in their genes, they still have that. And that's why, even though they pursue a lot of different things, maybe this kind of thing that we're talking about back and forth, they, like myself, I still have it in me to do singing and dancing and acting and do all that besides what I'm doing with you. So they bring it here. Yes, they do have that form of entertainment. Yes. And the entertainment that they visualized and they experienced on their planet is within them. So they do bring that here.
It would just be fascinating. And of course, we have many different types of music, and everything from classic music to jazz to rock and roll to bebop. It goes on and on. What do they have? Who performs and how do they witness it? How do they see it? Also, I'd like to know more about their politics. The Urantia book says in one particular section of the Urantia book, it says something that continues to stop me. It says the highest crime on our planet, which is very similar to your planet and your culture. We have a government too, and it's similar to yours. But the highest crime on our planet, here it comes, betrayal of public trust. That's huge. When I read that, it stopped me cold. Think of it.
Mhm.
Betrayal of public trust, which means elected officials that we trust with our dreams, with our money, with our lives. And if anybody betrays that trust in a public office, the Urantia book says they are executed. It's the highest crime you could have. I
Mhm.
just want to put out, what if all of our governments on this planet had that sort of a moral understanding? What would it be like on our planet? I'm thinking this would be utopia,
Mhm.
utopia on the
Mhm.
highest possible level of morals and judgments. And again, that really opened up a whole wall of more questions about different governments and different designs of also, do they kiss? Is kissing something that's
They
universal?
don't kiss like we kiss. They don't have intercourse like we do.
I
But
was going to
there
ask
is
that
an
too.
established love connection, and it means just as much there as it does with, our penetration and kissing and all that here.
Right.
So it's still a satisfying, worthwhile action over there as well.
There's a couple of futurists I was talking to, and they said that women will not be carrying babies for 9 months in their bodies. It will be done in incubator systems, and the babies will be healthy, and if there's anything that could affect them in a negative way, that will be taken out. by gene therapy so that they'll be as strong as possible. Anyhow, we're getting close to the end. This, again, Linda, this goes so fast. This
Well,
hour is,
let's put it this way. This is part one.
it is,
Okay, so
absolutely.
we'll go to part two next week or next month.
Now tell the listeners and the viewers, if you will, how can they know more about you? Is there a website or your
Well, people
business?
just contact me, Linda Ipanema at AOL.com. That's
Right.
it.
Could you go slow and spell that just so they get it?
Yes, Linda, LINDAIPANEMA at AOL.com.
Okay, excellent, excellent, excellent. Let me see. We have about what, 3 more minutes, perhaps?
Yes, we have around 5 minutes.
Okay, very, very good. Within a minute or so, this is hard, I know, but condense this interview we had. What are your final thoughts about contacting different planets, different societies? What are your thoughts about that? Is that something you feel as though is imminent? Should we do it? Is it a good thing?
Well, people who are curious, I would suggest do it as a group. People like myself, they just came to me individually, all the alien type life that wanted to channel and tell me different things. They still tell me outrageous things about my body, other people's bodies. They give me time, they tell me in 2 days this will be happening, and 24 hours that will be happening. I have that direct contact. So, as far as approaching that subject, what you just brought up, do it as a group at first if you're new. Don't go into it alone. And then when you feel secure with channeling, if it comes to that, then you will be on your own and be secure, and your path will be there for you. And I'll leave it
Yeah.
at that.
No, thank you for that. Good words there. And I can't imagine a more exciting thing than to be communicating on a deep level with other civilizations and other areas of our universe, our beautiful universe. And that would be the most thrilling thing in the world. So anyhow, let's hope that it's peaceful and beautiful and enlightening for sure. Linda, thank you so much for being my guest tonight. It was a total pleasure. And yes, there will be a part two and a part three later on. Absolutely. Wonderful thinking there. So this is Nick Curto for Disclosure Network New York. Wishing you all amazing journeys. Keep your mind open and loving and hopeful for our society and our planet and the galaxy that we are in. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night, and thank you both for an excellent episode. It was very informative and it was entertaining, and it left me with a lot to think about. I'll be inviting you on my show as well.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay, good night, everybody. Much love to everyone, everywhere, everywhere.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
They keep moving the buttons around on me.
Oh, I was wondering.
Yeah, sorry about that.
There we go. We're all set.